This is our third season in Montenegro. We've completed 2 earlier seasons where we had multi-beam mapping, anomaly verification, finished Reson and Kotor bays out into the open coastline area. 3 ancient wrecks were discovered during the last season. This season, which we've only just begun with the verification phase, we've already discovered 2 ancient shipwrecks, and we have probably at least another 4 or 5 days of anomaly verification to go. Hopefully we'll be able to continue this exciting discoveries for the rest of this year, and we've already planned to with the Ministry of Culture to continue moving down and cover the entire coast.
Right, please. Still coming. Okay. That's good. Rotate the ROV left. Stop. I might be grabbing air here. If you look at the other handle, the other handle should be just about there. Maybe push in here. The other direction is.
This type of amphora, the Corinthian B, is a variety of a very commonly found amphora along the southern Adriatic coast in our explorations in Albania and Montenegro. We found larger varieties in Albania, but this variety, as you can see, is about a ½ meter long, but has all the same characteristics of those produced in Corinth or Corcyra, Corfu.
Rose rock. I know. It's something secreted. It's something like, I don't know what's it.
Nastavljamo sa podvodnim istraživanjima koja će trajati 25 dana u saradnji sa američkom kompanijom RPM Nautical i Republičkim zavodom za zaštitu spomenika kulture, a na osnovu sporazuma koji smo potpisali u narednih 5 godina sve ono što budemo otkrili u našem podmorju ćemo na jedan dobar način valorizovati nastavljajući istraživanja i rekognosiranja potopljenih objekata, tako da se nadam da će ta istraživanja doprinijeti većem interesovanju ronulaca, da posjete Crnu Goru i uživaju u podvodnim ljepotama našeg podmorja, jezera i rijeka, i nadam se da ćemo zajedno sa vama, profesionalnim roniocima koji se budete spuštali na te lokalitete i koji ćete istraživati zajedno sa arheolozima koji će u narednom periodu završiti obuku u našem centru, vjerujem da ćemo uspjeti da napravimo jedan dobar istraživački tim koji će narednih godina predstaviti sve ono što se nalazi u našem podmorju iz raznih historijskih epoha. Tako da vjerujem da sve ono što radimo zajedno sa našim kolegama arheolozima koji su na brodu Herkules i sa arheolozima iz Crne Gore, vjerujem da ćemo doprinijeti boljoj promociji kulturnog nasljeđa koje se nalazi u našem podmorju.
One of the things that that has been discovered early on in this initial work in the exploration program along the coast is the maritime data is confirming what we've seen in a lot of data from the general Mediterranean. You have a high number of shipwrecks in the Roman period that increased from the earlier Greek period, and it's still higher than that in late antiquity going into the medieval period. But what is interesting here in the Adriatic is that the shipwreck numbers are peaking, the dates of these shipwrecks, slightly earlier than you see for the wider Mediterranean. One of the reasons being this is the second area that the Romans moved into overseas. The initial area was into Sicily after the First Punic War, Sardinia, having the islands between that and North Africa. They immediately went over and began their next forays and provincial administrations along the Illyrian coast. And what we see here are the trade connections, the establishment of industries for wine, for mineral extraction, for olive oil. This is driving shipping in the area and increasing it to a point where you see that it reflected in the maritime evidence of higher numbers of shipwrecks in the 2nd and 1st centuries BC.
You need to. Is it still moving? To do that, it's not like an airplane. It doesn't have to go forward to turn. Helicopter. It's a helicopter, exactly. It's okay.
One thing we've established at RPM is the Illyrian Coastal Exploration Program. This program was born out of our initial work in Albania and then connecting the work there with the work here in Montenegro, and now with plans to connect that work with survey and verification in Croatia. This is a program based on the historical idea that the entire coast was linked, especially from a maritime perspective. During the period, early period, the Illyrian period, its contacts with Greece, with Magna Graecia, then into the Roman period where it was provincially organized, often though it changed, along the basis of the entire coast, either in Illyria or Dalmatia, linking these sectors together with other parts of the Mediterranean through their seaborne routes. And then in a later period, you still see that these groups along the coast are very connected along the eastern Adriatic, even compared to within their own countries further inland.
That's good. So there. Up, stop. Spin right. Spin, spin, spin. Stop. Hand down. Whoa! You have to pretty much be unflappable.
On cool and collect. Right. All the time.
All right. Hand down slightly on the mainframe camera.
All right. You're down. Just stay down. You can't see it because it's. I can't see it because it ain't there. Okay. Is that this one or the other one? It's this one, right?
You're rising pretty quickly there, Woody. You have to pretty much be unflappable.
On cool and collect. Right. All the time.
All right. Hand down slightly on the mainframe camera.
Go up. Keep going up.
Here we have a Lambolia 2 amphora. This is a wreck discovered today, our third season in Montenegro. Wreck site and approximately 80 meters of water. This is a wreck that was carrying only Lambolia 2 amphoras. Very similar, almost exact, to a wreck we found last season. Further up the coast, closer to the entrance into Tivat Bay, also carrying only Lambolia 2 amphoras. These are important. It has been theorized that Lambolia 2 amphoras were manufactured on the South Croatian coast around Hvar, and that the distribution center then went from there out to the Western Mediterranean. The theory would then be, from maritime evidence, that shipwrecks carrying large cargoes of solely Lambolia 2 amphoras should be found near this area. Now, they would have taken the eastern Adriatic route down the coast somewhere to mid-Albania before cutting over to Italy and then into the Western Mediterranean. Without having explored this in the past, we haven't been sure whether these amphoras would be found in the shipwrecks and bringing forth the evidence that we needed to confirm the production area for these type of amphora. This project is now doing that. We've had two such shipwrecks in 2 years, and for the future we hope to continue to see such wrecks so we can expound on our knowledge base of the distribution during the 1st century BC, late 2nd century BC. interesting discovery that we've encountered with our shipwreck evidence along the Adriatic coast. That's also confirmed in other areas we've worked in Turkey and Malta and Sicily, southern Italy, is that we're finding shipwrecks offshore. Now, traditionally, it was believed that ships would typically wreck in bad weather. Ancient ships would wreck in bad weather when they would strike a rock on the near shore, or something shallowly underwater when they would approach shore too closely. What we're finding is there are many shipwrecks, and often more shipwrecks, located 2, 3, 5, 10 kilometers offshore, because they've run into bad weather. Square rigs on these vessels did not allow them to maneuver, to tack at the same dexterity, if you will, that modern wrecks do, or modern ships do, and would cause them to capsize. And we're finding these intact shipwrecks, fully loaded with their cargoes, far from shore, where they certainly did not strike anything along the coast.
Have you ever had one?
One of the outcomes of our work is not only to map and identify the submerged cultural heritage for Montenegro, so they can put in place protection and further study for their scholars and rising students in maritime archaeology and archaeology in general, but also to bring this to the public. The amphoras, typically the amphoras that are brought up, are then conserved here in Montenegro, put on display in museums, and this allows the public to come and interact with these deep shipwrecks and see the history of the shipping and the commerce and the peoples that lived here thousands of years before they did.